the Money Tree. I'm David Holt,
And I'm David Marks.
and we are the Money Guys.
I think so, anyway.
I don't know what we are. We're just glad you're watching, and we hope that we've been learning something about David's been sharing with us.
Well, you have too. You've shared
Really?
a lot of life experiences and maybe some bad answers. You've thrown a few bad ones out there, but you've got some right. You've done better.
The last recording, I got several right, so
did.
we don't know about today.
Right, and I would probably say today is something that you may have a little more expertise in than I do.
Hey, I'm impressed.
Well, I would probably say that you do. Because we've both been there, but you've actually looked at it from a different perspective than I have, because I've looked at it from a personal perspective, where you've looked at it from a parental perspective. That was really hard, parental perspective.
I am always amazed at the verbiage that you're able to bestow upon us.
I think so. I sit at home at night and I try to think of words.
For our camera guy, that means his vocabulary is increasing.
Right. And I always wondered why he was back there taking notes. So maybe he's looking those words up. I don't know. Maybe he's teaching them to other people.
No, he's looking at his stock market on the Robinhood app.
That is true.
Because
we've been winning on that, by the way, because the last time we filmed, we had given out a penny pick stock. It was around, I think, 5 cents, and today it got up to 20 cents a share, and it's down to about 15 right now. So you'd have more than doubled your money if you had invested in that stock. Not saying that we can always do that for someone, but we really do put some research and time into these, and we hope that we can help you out with it. So yeah, I had over 600 shares in it, so I was happy when I sold it. I'm not complaining too much. Might have sold it too soon. We'll see.
Hey, we're gonna have to get a theme song. That money, 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 money.
I think so too. You can sing it. I'll watch. And maybe my singing has been cold for a little bit anyway. So you had a pretty good week, right? I know you've been busy with the pool.
I've been busy with the pool. My mom's been ill, but she's much better. And we just finished the Freedom Fest in Rainsville.
Right.
That was a huge event. Fireworks were great. Mm-hmm. And the week before that, we had the Freedom Run. So this summer has been a busy time in the city of Rainsville.
It's going by very fast.
Well, and the Potato Festival is coming up in Henry, Alabama,
and I go to run at the park just almost every weekday.
Mm-hmm.
I take Saturday and Sundays off typically, but every day that I've been up there running, they have been working like crazy to get the park ready and cleaning up brush, doing a lot of landscaping, mowing, things like that. So saw some trees getting pushed down with a front end loader this morning, so they are doing a lot of work. So.
It's really neat. I would get to go to Boston during the 4th of July this year, so I'm excited. That's one of the neat things about the position that I have. I get to travel around the 4th and see how different people celebrate our country. It's just really, really cool. There's some really, really patriotic people all across this country because we live in such a great country.
We do. I actually had to go to a meeting in Montgomery with the Alabama Counseling Association Friday. So driving home, and you may have seen this on Facebook, but driving home, there's an eagle wall that's on Liberty Parkway there in Vestavia, which my name is on it. So I went by and
tell them why your name is on it.
I'm an Eagle Scout.
That's
so
right.
And I have a friend that is, and so I took a few pictures. They were working on it, so I didn't get to do a whole lot, but I got a few pictures of it. But while I was there, I stopped, and they have the smaller Statue of Liberty there with a flagpole close by, and I shot a video of that. It's on my Facebook page. It's just awesome kind of blue sky. Just called it just right because the rain was about to move in. And it makes me really think and reflect on how thankful I am for our country, for those who serve, for those military men and women, and those in the past also. So I think we should be patriotic.
We'll have to get red, white, and blue.
I think we should. We should do red, white, and blue.
So, well, let me just say one thing, and that's one thing about this country, and one thing we're going to talk about today is college.
Sure.
I think anybody can rise above any circumstance that they have because of free public education and the chance to go to college and further your career. If you're willing to work hard, the sky is the limit.
It is. And, we'll use an example of a non-college graduate in our money fact today, and then we'll get into why college is important. Of course, not everyone's made for college.
Correct.
Mark Zuckerberg, do you know who that is?
Yeah, he's a rich person.
He's a billionaire, youngest billionaire we've ever had, but he is the creator, schemer of Facebook, and this is just a little money fact that I'll throw out there. He saves money by only wearing the same type clothing. He does very bland. He does gray. Typically is the color. So he has one suit. That's all he owns, and he has gray T-shirts and typically blue jeans that he wears, and that's it. So
Wow.
great t-shirts. Now I think he has some hoodie type stuff too, but it's like he's a minimalist. So he doesn't have like all these extravagant clothes. Everything he has is very small. So if you're wanting to save money, and you think, I know you couldn't do that.
Well, I'm just thinking, I have many ties
Right.
in my closet. Man, that's probably, I got 100, I bet.
Sure. And that's, you think about the minimalist lifestyle. If you do that, you're only going to be in one color all the time, so you better find the right color because it could go bad on you there. So it could be like.
Well, now that's a challenge. That's, to be a minimalist, we'll just have to talk about that.
Right. I'm a subpar minimalist. I don't keep a lot of things, but I keep more than just gray t-shirts.
Yeah, me too.
So, but back to our discussion today, we are going to talk about college, and we're going to talk about the cost of college and what that entails, and we want to kind of break that down for you because one of the biggest problems we have in our country as far as a personal point of view is college debt.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to kind of, curve from how you can plan and how you can prepare for that. We want to both look at that on the personal point of view, which is something that you and I both went through, but then also parents. We want to talk to your grandparents, guardians of younger children, how you can possibly plan for that and try to help them for the future.
Right.
Because it is always good to look ahead. It's a lot harder to pay back.
Yeah.
It's always good to try to plan ahead. So if we can, let's talk about the cost of college for just a moment. Let's look at our first slide.
Okay.
Looking at our first slide, we can see that according to the College Board, and of course I always want to have a good resource or source to pull this from, but according to College Board, the average cost of tuition and fees for the 2016-2017 school year for a full-time student was $33,480.
And that's 1 year.
It's 1 year. So you can easily see where people come out of college with over $100,000 in debt just because they're paying that $33,000 now. Of course, the Alabama average was $10,000.
But still, no wonder if you're a young person and you want to know why your parents get so frustrated with you when you're like, well, that's just another year.
Right.
That's a chunk of change.
Right. Or when your parents are like, why do you have C's? And we'll get to that a little later on about why those grades are important, So when you look at that, though, let me ask you this. Why do you think Alabama's cost is $10,000 compared to national $33,000? That's a third of the cost.
I would say because we have a large community college system.
Yes, that is a great answer because there's a correct answer.
I'm not as I'm getting better.
You're doing better. You're doing better. So what it is Alabama operates this community college system, of course, which offers tuition at a discounted rate or a less expensive rate than you might pay at a four-year institution. Now, of course, a four-year institution, if that's where you're dead set on going, is always there as long as you can get accepted and get in. But I recommend to a lot of my seniors, hey, go Gadsden State, Northeast Alabama Community College, Snead State. There are 3 very good local community colleges that you can go to that will help you prepare for later on when you go to a four-year school. I'm a product of Northeast Alabama Community College.
I am too, a proud alumnus.
Yes.
Ooh, there's a verbiage word
there.
Well, and the thing of it is, it's much smaller.
Yes.
The class sizes are much smaller. You can live at home expense-free. You're going to live with your parents anyway, so why not stay there? Commute back and forth. You can still get involved in extracurricular activities.
Absolutely.
There's drama department. There's SGA. There's all kinds of clubs. But you still have sort of that hometown feel.
You do, and that's, of course, everybody has a different they have a different preference of what they want. I'm a hometown feel kind of person, very Mayberry-esque mentality, so I like hometown. Where some people may want the bigger city, things like that, so they may think, well, UAB is my option because I want to live in Birmingham. But take those 2 years because you still need to mature. And even though, I say a lot of times to parents at school, and maybe this is not something I should say publicly, but I'll say it anyway, is that teenagers are the smartest dumb people walking around because they think they know everything, but they're really not that intelligent. So, that's how I was at 17, and I feel like that's why I can say that.
Don't you think that those teenagers get so much more intelligent after a year or two of being out of high school?
Yes. I think that, the first maybe year, especially after the second year that you're out of high school, your eyes are opened. That little film that you had on there has been removed because you really start to understand a lot about life. especially if you're having to do what you and I had to do, and that's where you had to work and go to college.
Yeah.
Because you think that, oh, this is going to be so easy, but you then realize there's so much more responsibility.
You got to manage your time wisely because only you can do it.
Right.
Only you can do it.
And I will say that Northeast was a great stepping stone for me to go to Jacksonville, because it really did prep me. If I had went straight to Jacksonville and been thrown into some of the classes I had at Jacksonville, not having Northeast under my belt, it would have been overwhelming. I could not have taken that. So, I had great teachers there at Northeast. They did a wonderful job. Dr. Campbell was he was my sociology teacher there, and
he was mine as well.
I think I had him for like a 7:30 or 8 o'clock class. It was early, but I'm a morning person, so it was okay. But that's why the community college system is so crucial to our area, and it is great. And of course, I don't want to leave out Sneed State or Gadsden State, but of course, we have closer ties with Northeast.
Well, it's 6 miles from where I live, not much further to you.
Right.
And one thing that I don't think you put on the slide is that we may have not talked about together, but I'm understanding that our governor, Kay Ivey, signed into law that if you are a member of the National Guard, that you get, is it junior college?
It's junior college, yes.
Tuition free.
Yes, and when we had the Alabama State Guard come in and do the career tech fair.
It's called the Citizen Soldier Expo because I helped get that.
Okay, there you go. So when we had that and we took our students, one of the gentlemen that was there actually started telling me about that program. So of course I'm going back to school. I'm finding my career tech guys especially, and I'm like, hey guys, if you join the Guard, if this is an option you think, we had 3 boys I know that talked to them right at the end of school after they found out this information. If you're going to do this, then this is a route you need to really consider, because A, they'll pay you, give you benefits like health insurance, things like that, and they'll pay for you to go to school.
So it's a win-win. You're making money, you're serving our country 1 weekend a month.
Sure.
2 weeks, I think, in the summertime. And your tuition is paid to go to college. Health insurance. You're building retirement in the Guard, and
it'd be hard to walk away from
I'm telling you, those guys, it's really,
And going back to being patriotic, I would happily pay the taxes to take care of those guys to go to school. I've always felt that way.
Yeah.
Those guys who serve and ladies who serve in the military, they deserve our respect, and I'm all for giving them the benefits. It's kind of like I've always felt like that, I would pay more in taxes to Social Security if it's going to take care of the elderly, because I feel like that's our responsibility.
And I'm getting closer there.
Sure, there you go. So he wants me to pay more in. He's hoping I'll just start dumping into it.
Yeah.
So going back to our very first slide, if we can look at that real quick one more time. Wyoming is the least expensive in the country at $5,060 a year. But now the last 5 years of tuition increase in Alabama has been 22%.
Wow.
So we see that tuition in Alabama has really jumped over the last 5 years. I would not expect that trend to slow down.
No.
I would only see that to increase. So,
universities are going to get their money. If they don't get it from the state, they're going to get it from tuition.
Sure. Well, there are operational costs for higher education.
That's true.
So even Northeast, I'm sure Dr. Campbell has to sit down with budgets and has to look at what he can do and what he can't do with scholarships, things like that. And they have to plan just like your household has to plan.
Yeah.
So now that kind of segues us into personal planning. So if we can, let's look at how do I pay for college. Now,
write a check, Mom.
That's right, because parents can always just write a check, and it's good for anything they write it for, right?
Yes.
So
no.
we're being sarcastic there, super sarcasm. So if we can, let's look at the first slide, which will be our second slide. Our second slide, which is how to pay for college. What this shows us is this is how to pay for college for parents of younger children. So let's go ahead and start out. Parents, if you have a young child, this is something I would recommend that you do. Now, the state of Alabama had one for a while. The returns off that were not very good. I even think there was some legal litigation went into that. So you want to make sure that you, first of all, research what you're going into, but also go with a very strong company. Go with something that's very secure. So this is the first thing I want us to look at is a College America 529 savings plan. Now this is through the American Funds program, and what they do is you can see they give a 6.34% return over the last 5 years, which a 6% return is a lot better than savings accounts.
Right.
And it's 5-star Morningstar rating, so it has a good Morningstar rating, and it can be started with $250. So parents, if you have a younger child and you're thinking about a college savings plan, this is one that I would recommend. Are you going to find those that might offer a better rate of return over the last 5 years? Sure. There's some that might say they're 7 or 8%. However, the thing you have to be very cautious on is that a very secure company. It's kind of like with the stock market. You may have a company who offers a high dividend yield, but if they don't have good PE ratios and they don't have good financial books, they might offer you that 3 times and they'll quit paying.
Yeah.
And then you're stuck with that stock. So you want to make sure that you invest with a good company. I would think that if you have a child, that'd be a grandma and grandpa, that'd be a good Christmas present for your grandchild, because the good thing about this 529 savings plan with American Funds is if your child does not use that, they can actually roll it to their child.
Wow.
So if you have a 529 plan and let's say your son goes to work, he's not wanting to go to college, so he goes and he finds a job working with a company, he can actually roll that college savings plan to his child one day. So you would have, instead of 17, 16 years of gains, you might have 32 or 38 years of gains. So it offers that flexibility, plus you can take it out for non-educational purposes. However, you are going to pay penalties on that. Typically, you're going to pay gains and a 10% penalty with this. Okay. So there's going to be a penalty included in that.
So do your research when you start investing in some type of college savings.
Absolutely. Of course, savings accounts are always good. You can always do those kind of things. But I would really look at, to try to get the best, return on my money, I would look at a 529 college savings plan. Just go with a safe company. That'll bring us to our next point of view, which is going to be, how do I pay for college for current college students?
Okay.
So now we're going to be talking about those of you who are 17, 18 years old. Maybe you're even older. Maybe you're in your 30s and you're wanting to go back to school. So let's look at our third slide for that. So if you're a current college student, there's some basic things you need to know, and this is where I said you can really help out with this. First of all, FAFSA. Can you tell us what FAFSA is?
FAFSA.
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 Yeah, okay, go ahead. I think I put it on there wrong.
It's a free application for student and federal aid. Is that close? Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Right. And what is it based off of?
It's based on your tax returns from last year.
Right. So what
your parents, well, if you're a minor and your parents are claiming you, then you are charged. You have to turn in your tax returns.
Thank you. That's what I was going to say. If you're a student, of course, you do have to submit your tax returns, but it also works off your parents' tax returns. Until you're how old? Do you know that?
Ooh, I do not know that.
23 years old.
Okay.
So the whole time that I was at Jacksonville, I graduated before 23. I still had to count my parents' taxes, even though I was paying all of my expenses, all of my rents, everything. I was self-sufficient. I still had to count that. That's just kind of how that works.
Well, and a lot of people say, well, I don't want to bring my tax returns. Well, there's a lot of, you won't get scholarships without filling out this particular thing.
Right.
Because the government has all your information anyway.
Yeah, and this is a government entity. That is what that is.
It is.
So it is important to apply for FAFSA. How did you?
FAFSA.
Every year to make sure, I'll probably never get that right. Every year, because this is how you receive both grant and student loan money. So now, if we can, let's take just a moment to talk about the difference in the two.
Okay.
First, let's look at grants. Okay, grant is money that you do not have to pay back, but there is a limit. So let's say that I'm going to Northeast. I can't say, well, give me $12,000 in grants.
Well, that's based on the FAFSA score.
It
because
is.
You have to prove that you have a need.
Financial
Maybe you have
need.
Disability,
Sure.
Parents are disabled, or maybe they're one parent and you make a really low income.
Sure.
That's the way you can get Pell Grants.
Sure, and the maximum that you'd have per year is $5,800. So it's not like if you go to Harvard and your tuition is $30,000 a semester, they're going to dump that. There's a limit to how much they're going to give you, and it's $5,800.
Yeah.
Which will cover Northeast with a little bit left over. So that's one
Which
good
you can
point.
use for textbooks.
You can use it for tuition, textbooks, or other expenses. This is money that taxpayers are paying in to give to you as a gift, if we can look at it that way. When you have the need to say, hey, we're putting money into your future, so we're giving you this money free, go make good use of it.
Yeah.
So let's say that you needed a laptop and you had the grant money left over, you can pay for that laptop because that may be something
Or
you
pay
need for
towards
school.
it, knock the price down a little bit.
Right, would help with it, yeah, because it probably wouldn't cover all of it. Now, you must, as you said, qualify based on family income. So now let's look at the second part of that slide, which is student loans. Now, when I was in college, I had one of two options. A, not go, or B, take out student loans.
I was the same way.
Because my parents made too much money for me to get grants, but yet my parents did not have enough money to write a check for my tuition.
Mm-hmm.
So
mine was called guaranteed student loans.
Okay.
Alabama State Guaranteed Student Loan Program at that time.
Right, okay. And mine was called Guaranteed to Hopefully Get a Job Student Loans. So I was hoping that by taking those student loans, I was basically borrowing on my future.
Yeah.
Saying that, I'm going to take a gamble and say that if I get this degree, it's going to be beneficial to me, that I can pay that off. Mm-hmm. Now, I was very fortunate that I came out because I did receive a presidential scholarship to Northeast for being an Eagle Scout. And so that cut down on Northeast. However, Jacksonville State, I had to take out loans.
They weren't impressed with your Eagle Scout?
They were not that impressed with me, I don't think. I think they were like, who let this guy in? So, who accepted this one? How did this slip through?
Well, and the thing about a student loan is you have a low interest rate. Well,
for the
while
most
you're in
part,
school,
you do.
And when you get out of school and you have like 6 months to start paying on it,
mm-hmm.
and the sooner you can pay off that debt, as we've talked about before, the better financially you're going to be.
Well, and here's kind of a breakdown on student loans, and I'll try to give a lot of information in a little bit of time. You have typically 10 years to pay those back unless you do some type of consolidated loan. When you do a consolidated loan, they will let those go up to 30 years. But typically they will, but why would you want to pay on that for 30 years? You're mortgaging your student loans, basically. Mm-hmm. So you want to try to pay those back as soon as possible. Your interest rate is fairly low. Right now, you'll probably get one with a decent credit score or a cosigner. You'd probably get one about 5.5% to 6%, which is, for unsecured money, is really good. And your interest is deferred while you're in school. Now, that interest accumulates. Mm-hmm. So if you want to keep that interest low, you can pay on the interest while in school, but it is deferred, so you don't have a payment until you graduate. Now, if you quit school, your money is due. Not all of it, but you've got to start making your installments.
Yeah.
If you graduate, you have 6 months to get a job, then you can start making those. So they really build in some brakes to try to help you. Now, here's the kicker to this, and this was on our slide. I don't know if we're still showing this or not. Americans have swamped themselves in student loan debt. Student loan debt is around $1.3 trillion. And that is massive when you think about the debt we have. It actually exceeds credit card debt.
Wow.
And you would think that credit card debt would be the largest debt holder that our country has. Actually, student loans is larger than credit card debt.
Well, and one of the things that you and I both get to share with young people is look at the end result of the job you're going for.
Yes.
If you're going for something that makes $50,000 a year, why would you want to rack up $150,000 in student debt? Because it's going to take you forever to pay for that.
Right, that is exactly right. Because let's say that you're going to be a doctor and you rack up $200,000, which would be easy in student loan debt. As a doctor, you would probably have the means to pay that back. However, if you're going to be a teacher and you have $150,000 in student loan debt, you're killing yourself.
Yeah,
I mean that's exactly what you're doing.
Well, and that's why it's so important. We've talked about it before. Scholarships are out there, but let me just throw this out there for the adults watching. In my job, and yours as well, working with young people to try to get them to fill out those applications for free money, scholarship money.
Yes.
There's some work that goes into that, and those, current young people, many of them just will not put the effort into it. For example, and I can give you this one as a hardcore from this past school term, there's several essay questions, and they will say 300 to 500 words. Now, you don't have to write 500 words, but you need more than 15 words. I had several students who were like, well, that's all I want to write. Well, you're not going to get the scholarship.
Right.
You're wasting your time, you're wasting your energy. So just remember, ACT scores are very important. Fill out those college applications, do some community service, document those things, and that would be free money.
Yes, make sure that you do that. Make sure that you're putting the time and effort into it to get those ACT scores up, keep your GPA high, and apply.
Yeah.
That's what I find is a lot of students just don't want to apply.
Yeah.
So take the time to do it.
Hey, we got about 5 minutes left, so that means it's quick fix
That's
time.
I was going to ask you to do that. Now, going back to what we talked about earlier, and I'm sorry I'm banging on the table there, but I was pretty excited about
He's
this.
a preacher over
because I had shared this with several, including our camera guy, and he invested this. We had a pig last time, that we
Penny
went in. A penny pick that was at 5 cents, and like I said, it was really, really doing great. And keep this in mind. A lot of times we're going to do a little bit of a different approach this week. And we'll look at our slide in just 1 second. But when we do this, I want to give you a price range I feel like is a good buy. Because I feel like giving the price was not really fair because it fluctuates between our show times. So let's go ahead and look at our fourth slide, which is our weekly stock picks. Our first one is Rate Financial Trust. The symbol is RAS. This is a stellar buy between $1.95 and $2.15 a share. Look, today it had been under $2 a share. I really think it's a buy there because they do pay a 2% dividend yield. The thing about it is it was over $2.20 today, and it was at like $1.95 last week. So it really took a big jump. It'd be a good one to look at. Orchard Island Capital ORC. I feel like this is a buy at $10.05 to $10.20. Anything under $10.05, if it hits $10 a share, I would definitely buy this because this pays a dividend monthly. I think it says 2% on there, but it's actually more like 15%.
Wow.
Yeah, it's 14 cents a share per share that you own every month. And on top of that, they have a 15.5 PE ratio. So ORC, great pick for right now. Our next is Five Oaks Investment Corporation. I'm kind of in the hole on this one right now. I bought it a little too high, but I feel like it's a sound buy at $4.80 to $5 a share. This is another one that has a PE ratio of 10, but it offers a 14% monthly dividend.
Wow.
So it's another monthly dividend. Monthly dividends have been really adding money to my account besides that one other stock. The next one is Gabelli Equity Trust. That's GAB is the symbol. I believe it's a buy at $6.10 to $6.15. Anything less than $6.10, of course, I think it would be a good buy. So I feel like it would. It's solid growth stock. It's very low volatility. Has a PE ratio of 28, which is a little bit high, but it has a 2% dividend to go with it. And actually, they did a special dividend this month that they announced 30 cents per share.
Wow.
So I've kind of come under the radar on that one. But it's too late. The ex-dividend date has passed.
Okay.
The next one, this is going to be a specialty buy, a low-end buy. It's something that's kind of a gamble. This is, of course, is one of our, as you've heard me say before, our Kenny Rogers picks. You got to know when to hold and know when to fold. 22nd Century Group, the symbol is XXII. It's a buy at $1.80 to $2. It's a plant biotech company with big news possibly coming soon. So one of the things that they do is they work on having the nicotine additive removed from tobacco plants. And they are working with the federal government and the FDA to start releasing a non-nicotine tobacco product.
But it's still smoke.
It still would be smoke, but this would be more geared towards the chewing tobacco caliber product, which would release part of the probability that you would have cancer.
Okay.
So anyway, all that being from it, there's a vote coming up in Florida next month that could also skyrocket this stock. It could also probably kill it. So that's why I said it's a Kenny Rogers gamble stock.
And remember, well, we're
laymen. Yeah, this is just
it's fun money.
It is fun money, and but you can make money on it, as some of us have learned. Now the next one is the last week's pick was the warrants that this company held. It's Opexa Therapeutics Incorporated. The symbol last week was OPAXW. That's the one that was at 5 cents. And so now I'm looking at their actual stock. It's our penny pick for the week. It's at anywhere from 53 to 63 cents a share. I feel like it's a solid good buy. They develop immune therapy and treat multiple sclerosis and autoimmune diseases. So these biomedical companies can make or break you. If this one has an FDA clearance, which we think they're going to have, they'll probably go through the roof.
Well, we know our camera guy is all excited about his penny pick from last recording. Yes. And we hope you're enjoying the money tree, the stuff David is sharing with you, and a couple of times I'll get a good one right.
You do very good, and I think you've really grown financially. I feel like both of us have. We've both learned a lot.
Yeah, we've learned a lot. And we want to thank the folks at MountainValleyNewspaper.com. We want to thank the folks at Farmers Telephone TV Channel 6 for letting us come each week. Absolutely. We hope you're enjoying it, and I can never remember the Facebook thing.
It's facebook.com/MoneyTreeTV. The website is davidomarks.com/money-tree. As he always says, dash. So I knew that was going to come. And guys, I want you to remember that
we're about out of time. Go quick.
You must have You must know the Prince of Peace to have financial peace. So make sure that's your top priority in life.
Hey, have a great day. See you next time.
Thank you.